Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is shaving a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The storm clouds hung low over the Spencer cliffside mansion. The waves crashing in restless warning, as though the ocean itself sensed that Bill Spencer was about to cover a truth so earth-shattering it would rattle the entire foundation of Los Angeles, Forrester creations, and the fragile bonds between families who thought they had finally escaped the shadows of the past. But no, the past had clawed its way back in the most twisted, unpredictable form. A mask alley. A young woman who stood in front of mirrors, practicing a voice that wasn't, adjusting silicone edges that blended seamlessly with her skin, rehearsing a posture that did not belong to her, preparing to fool a world already on edge after months of secrets involving Luna, Poppy, Lee, and now Dylan, the mysterious teen whose sudden arrival had already caused ripples of suspicion among the Forresters and the Spencers. But nothing, absolutely nothing, compared to what Bill was about to uncover. Because this time the deception wasn't just emotional or legal or medical. It was theatrical, psychological, something so shocking and bold that even Sheila Carter, the queen of disguises and manipulations, would have blinked twice because Luna Natsuwa, sweet, timid Luna, who once cried over mint candies and workplace mistakes, had crafted a secret identity so flawless that for weeks she had been fooling Ridge, Steffi, Finn, Hope, Wyatt, RJ, Poppy, and yes, even Bill himself. And the truth began to unravel on a night heavy with tension when Bill noticed something small, something almost invisible, a tiny adhesive seam behind Dylan's right ear during a family dinner. A detail no one else noticed because they were too busy welcoming Dylan into the fold. Too busy believing the elaborate story about Luna having a long-lost half-brother. Too busy admiring Dylan's charm, his polite tone, his uncanny ability to remember every detail of Luna's life, every childhood story, every preference, every phobia, every favorite food, which suddenly made sense to Bill in a chilling, exhilarating flash of realization. Dylan was real. Dylan wasn't a he. Dylan wasn't even a separate person. Dylan was Luna, hiding behind a professional-grade mask sculpted so perfectly it could have passed FBI inspection. A mask she used to infiltrate both Spencer Publications and Forrester Creations for reasons Noon had yet uncovered. Reasons tied to Poppy's whispered warnings, Lee's icy threats, Finn's guilty glances, and the silent, painful tension that had grown between RJ and Luna ever since Dylan arrived. And now, as Bill stood alone in his study, reviewing footage from the security cameras he'd quietly installed, he leaned forward with narrowed eyes as Dylan walked down the hallway, reached their room, shut the door, and in one smooth, heartbreaking motion peeled the mask from their face, revealing Luna beneath. Luna trembling, Luna sweating, Luna staring at herself in the mirror as if she no longer recognized her reflection, whispering words Bill called here, but could feel because everything about her posture screamed panic. Desperation, a secret tearing her apart. And Bill, stunned, furious, protective, and confused, replayed the footage again and again, trying to understand why a sweet young woman like Luna would go this far, and the answers began clicking into place as memories came rushing back. Poppy's sudden financial troubles, Lee's relentless hatred toward her sister, the unexplained threat letters Bill had received warning him to protect the boy, the strange gaps in Luna's schedule, RJ's emotional withdrawal, and the way Poppy had flinched whenever anyone mentioned DNA tests. It all formed a terrifying pattern. Someone out there believed Dylan existed. Someone dangerous enough that Luna felt forced to become him, to protect herself or someone else. But from who? What dark chapter of the Natsuwa family history had forced a teenage girl to leave a double life at the risk of her sanity? Bill's pulse hammered as he opened another folder on his desk. A file he'd ordered Justin to assemble on Dylan's supposed birth records, school transcripts, and hospital files. But everything had come back blank, non-existent, fabricated to perfection, and now Bill understood why. Luna had created an identity from thin air. But what he still didn't understand was the motive until he heard the soft shuffle outside his study door, the hesitant breath. And then Luna herself walked Ines Dylan, mask perfectly in place, voice perfectly imitated, posture perfectly masculine, And Bill, composed in a way only Bill Spencer could be when his world was exploding, greeted him casually, testing how deep the lie would go. Dylan stiffened, offered rehearsed politeness, but Bill watched every micro-expression, every flicker in those brownies that could never hide the truth from him. And when he finally said, "You can drop the act, Luna." "I know." The mask of Dylan froze in terror. Luna's panic palpable, even through the silicone. And slowly, painfully, she turned away, hands trembling as she peeled the disguise off, revealing her tear-streaked face, her breath hitching as though she'd been holding it for months, whispering, "I didn't want you to find out. I didn't want anyone to find out." And Bill, trying to remain calm, asked the question burning through him, "Why, Luna? Why pretend to be someone else? Why make Dylan?" And Luna, shaking, collapsing into a leather chair, confessed a truth so twisted, so heavy, it crashed into Bill like a tidal wave. She didn't create Dylan out of manipulation or ambition. She created him to shield the Forresters and Spencers from a threat far older and more dangerous than anyone suspected. A threat tied to someone hunting for a boy named Dylan. Believing he was alive, believing he was hidden by Poppy, believing he held the key to money, family secrets, debts, medical history, or perhaps something even darker. But the truth was, Dylan had never existed, not as a real person. Dylan was a name Poppy invented years ago to protect Luna from something Lee had done. Something involving hospitals, switched paperwork, a baby who was supposed to disappear, a secret that could destroy Finn's career and the Natsuwa family forever. And now someone dangerous had resurfaced demanding to find Dylan, forcing Luna Tapasos as him to satisfy the surveillance, the threats, the shadows following her from school to work to home. But Bill, full Spencer mode activated, stood tall, furious that anyone had terrified Luna to this point, and vowed to protect her, to uncover the puppet master pulling the strings. And as Luna sobbed, begging Bill not to expose her, Bill pulled her into a protective embrace, promising she wasn't alone, promising justice, promising safety. But what neither of them realized was that the door to the study was slightly ajar, and outside Poppy stood in paralyzed silence, eyes wide with dread because she knew that everything Luna had revealed was only the beginning. The air in the Spencer study felt too tight, as if the walls themselves were listening to Luna's confession, absorbing every trembling word as she tried to steady her breathing, wiping her cheeks with shaking hands, while Bill paced the room with the raw intensity of a man who just learned that the truth he'd been chasing was even more twisted than he could have imagined. But outside the half-open door, Poppy's entire world seemed totaled sideways as she clutched.